beautiful Thursday night football game tonight. Oh, do we have just two great, amazing offenses going at it with a total. Now, Stoweby, I hope you're sitting on your chair and you're stable. I hope you're good. I hope that this is going to knock you off your chair if you're not careful. But the total is 41. 41 points. That's what the total is. I know that's high. I know that's a high total. But we'll have to try and find a way to get these players in. You know, there's going to be so many of them that we have. No, this game sucks. My name is Jon Jansen, at JChan34, joined by Stoweby at STOWEBY. This is all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.app, and you can check out the Sharp app and go to the whatever app store that you have, whether it's Apple, Google Play, or whatever the Google one is. I'm an Apple guy. But whatever app store they have, go on there and just search up the Sharp app. And also subscribe to WinDailySports.com. WinDailySports.com. Go subscribe for a gold membership, 6 months. And if you sign up and use the promo code NFL2021, you can get $100 off a 6-month gold membership. Stoweby, where to even begin with tonight's game? Where? How? What? Why? Is this playable? Are we... what are we doing?
I mean, every slate's playable.
I'm right, I guess. Is this watchable? Is this... This game sucks.
We'll see. I mean, last year's games, we had a lot of those on Thursday night, and then they end up being shootouts. So, I mean, it's happened before. I think this is going to be a horrific game, but knowing how Thursday night happens, the games that we think will be terrible will end up going off. But
are you really trying to sell me on that right now? Is that what you're trying to sell me on right now?
No, I'm not selling you on it. I'm just telling you that's just the NFL fantasy guys.
It could happen, right?
Oh, trust me, I'm not banking on it. I'm all about the defenses and and stuff like that.
How do you play a slate like this? Obviously, context of what teams, but this is a showdown that's going to be most likely low scoring. Like it is going to be close. That 41, it could go over. I don't think it's going to go far over it. Like this could be a 20-19, 23-20 type game. That's the low scoring we're looking at. So how do you play a showdown like this where, it's not like we're expecting 60 points total here. This is going to be a very, very low scoring game.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the way that you would play it is you make sure you get, a defense in your lineup, whichever one, you run your script and then you'll run the appropriate.
And is that
defense.
Especially for tonight's game?
Yeah, I think you're going to have at least one defense on your roster tonight. It's gonna be one or the other. My lean is Washington, but I mean a case can be made for the Giants with Tyler Heineke in at quarterback. So it's just you script them both ways, and then you get the kickers involved. I mean, this is a week where you can put a kicker in here and there. There's a couple of offensive weapons that you can target that are in pretty decent positions. And Daniel Jones, his big issue is, I mean, he's turnover prone, fumbling the ball and turning the ball.
No, Daniel Jones turns the ball over. No.
Yeah. Breaking news, everybody, if you haven't watched football in the last couple
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I mean, he can still throw the ball. He can put it downfield. He should be able to get a few targets in a little bit further down the field. And then, there's a couple of red zone targets that I'm interested in if they can get down there.
Yeah. Daniel Jones, the interesting one. I don't know if we're going to captain him, but he is in real life a terrible quarterback. Maybe, possibly. I think so. I don't know. Giants told us that we're blind if we're not seeing it. I don't see it. But he's not that bad for fantasy. No. So is he one that reluctantly we just have to put in our lineups, even though it's a terrible, quarterback? This game stinks though, and he's the one that's probably going to get over 20 DK points. And he's probably, at the end of the day, probably going to be one of the highest scorers on this slate. So, obviously Daniel Jones stinks, but we have to play him tonight, right?
Oh yeah. I think you got to play a little bit of Daniel Jones, a little bit of Heineke. I mean, you're mixing and matching them. I'm not going to go full stack on the both quarterbacks and multiple receiving targets, but yeah, Heineke, he can run a little bit too. So let's not completely forget that. I mean, everything is contextual. Most of this game is going to suck. So you don't necessarily need your guys to score a ton of points to end up doing well at the end of the night. So,
I would love to see this Danny Dimes, another highlight, the 80-yard run and stumble. That was amazing. Yeah, don't remind me of it because I was a fan of the team that he was going up against, and while that part was funny, the rest of the game was not. So I don't want to remember that game. Also, I think Brian's right here. Like, you play Washington's D because you're going to get the turnovers. You may end up getting a pick six, and you're going to get that, but it's Daniel Jones rushing upside, and he's going to be running for his bleeping life. Chase Young and the rest of that defensive line didn't really do much against Justin Herbert. This offensive line for New York is atrocious.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, they're terrible.
And
yeah, I thought they were going to get a little bit better between last season and this season.
No, that was horrible. What they did against Denver was horrible. So I think that's got to be in play here. And you're going to get the sacks. Like, you could get close to 5 or 6 sacks. You could get 7, 8 sacks. Like, I think Chase Young is due for maybe a Chandler Jones type game, if you know what I mean by that. Look at that. Look at Brian with a little bit of a hot take in here. Chase Young overrated. I like that. But I just think that Washington's going to be able to score enough, but you can put Daniel Jones in there because he's going to be running for his life, and that's going to provide some fantasy points. I think he gets over 20 DK points. I truly do. I think he gets over 20.
Yeah,
now, that could be like 250 yards and a touchdown and like a couple of picks, but rushes for 50 yards. But I think that's going to be close. Now, we do have a little bit of a start-sit question here because I've been seeing this a lot. You say Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is a hard start this week.
Yeah, and give Saquon one more week. I mean, if he goes off, just be willing to live with it. Antonio Gibson is going to get the volume no matter what. So just hold on to Saquon one more week. I think they get him back closer to what his normal workload is in week 3. I mean, you got to think this is only his second game. And
he gets a really good defense too.
Yeah, they don't
2 great defenses.
Yeah. And for a team that's going out of their way to say that they are easing him back into it to have him healthy for the entire season, they're not gonna overload him in this contest and risk causing injury.
I mean, I guess you could have Barkley in, not just going into the DFS side, 1 or 2 of your showdowns, but is he one that, pivot away from him and maybe go to some backups here, some other options in New York? Like, I think the Giants, Kenny Golladay and Sterling Shepard, of course, they're in play here. But is there any chance we look at a backup running back? Is there any chance we look at even the backup tight end and try and find some value and contrarian plays with some of those backups?
Not the backup tight. Well, I mean, I guess he's technically the backup tight end, but I do like Kyle Rudolph. Yeah, I like Kyle Rudolph today. He spent the entire offseason dealing with recovering from foot surgery. He didn't get any time to get really acclimated with the offense, and they still targeted him 5 times, and 2 of those times were red zone targets. So that's something to be mindful of if they can get down there far enough. I mean, Rudolph he's not going to run past anybody, but he's sure-handed and he knows how to get open in the end zone. So for his price, he's somebody that I am eyeing in a lot of my lineups.
We're going over tonight's showdown between the Washington football team and New York Giants right here at Win Daily Sports. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, by the way. We're doing some great YouTube stuff, so would appreciate it if you can subscribe. And we got a bunch of DFS content for you, and we're going to have even more tomorrow when Jason and I are going to do a full position-by-position breakdown for the Week 2 Sunday slate. So that is going to be a ton of fun. It was great last week, and I expect Jason and I, we're going to have a fun time again this week doing it. And also, subscribe to WinDailySports.com for a gold membership. You can still use the promo code that is active, NFL 2021, for a gold membership. And also, be sure to check out the Sharp app, sharp.app. So, Stoweby, what are some things with today's slate? We have over there on WinDailySports.com the article that has a little do's and don'ts for you. What are some things that you would, I guess, some advice for this slate today. Are you staying away from, let's say, very low plays like 1,000 range and stuff like that? How are you utilizing the captain? Just what are some strategies that you've been seeing kind of work best for you as you're building lineups for this showdown?
Right now, I don't think you have to get too terribly cute in the captain spot, because it looks like, because this game is so gross, the ownership is going to be spread throughout multiple players. So I don't think you need to get too crazy and go all, get some guy that could catch 0 passes for 0 yards.
Yeah. I think honestly you have to stick Jones and Gibson. Like, you got to stick with the top guys here, because they're the ones I think you got to have to narrow down the pool a little bit. And those 2 guys, I would say, at least my candidates for being the top scorers, and you have to at least put one of them in there.
Yeah. Well, Jones, Gibson, and then if you want to go a little bit further down, you can go to somebody like a Logan Thomas, because Heineke's
I like that one.
Heineke he's not going to throw the ball deep downfield. He's kind of
too low of a ceiling for me, right? Like, just not gonna be able to have that big enough game to where, because if Washington does do well, and like, I'm not doubting Heineke, like, I think he's a solid quarterback, but there is a ceiling to what he can do, and he's not going to be a prolific passer. He's not going to throw for 300 yards. He provides you a little bit of rushing upside, but that's really about it. So yeah, I'd kind of use Heineke elsewhere. Like, I'll put him in my lineups, not the captain spot though.
No. I'm definitely not touching him at the captain spot. And then, on the Giant side, somebody like Sterling Shepard, I think is a more than reasonable option. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of faith in Galladay coming into the season, taking over that number 1 role. If Shepard is healthy, he is the number 1 wide receiver for the Giants. He's got chemistry with Jones, and when he's on the field, he looks to him a lot, and he looked terrific last week. Yeah. So if you want to put a Shepard in there too, he should be pretty low as far as ownership goes. It's just a matter of, is Jones going to have enough time to throw the ball? That's kind of the concern. And if you want to get real funky in like 1 out of 10 lineups, if you want to put Washington's defense,
love being
or the Giants'
funky,
defense,
love that funk, baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm all for the funk.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. I wouldn't be surprised if the defense is the high. It could potentially be a highest scoring, a slate breaker today. That happens. It happened with the Rams last year a couple of times on showdowns. So
look at Brian. Look at that guy, Brian. He noted that right away. Washington defense or Jones. Look at that. Great fantasy minds think alike, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. And like I said, I don't see a ton of people on Rudolph. I know it's showing right around 20 to 25% in our projections, but I'm not sure too many people are going to go there. Now there is something, if you want to have a complete dart throw, I know our guy Twitch up there in Discord always asks me if you want to take a shot at De'Ami Brown for 2,100, the second team wide receivers and the backup quarterbacks typically have better chemistry in the first game. So if he sees enough of the field, he targeted him a pretty good bit. I had to go all the way back to the preseason game to look for it. But if you want a complete and utter dart throw that should be next to nothing on ownership, De'Ami Brown will be the one that I would go for.
So, I mean, is this going to be one of the chalkier? Because this is a lineup, this is what we're talking about, that, a lot of the pieces we like and how things would fit, especially with Washington as the captain. But, is this one going to be maybe a little bit too chalky in how it's played? Because Jones and Gibson, to me, are going to be the 2 chalkiest plays, and especially with Heineke. Quarterbacks are always going to be chalk in a showdown, and I think Gibson, in terms of skill players, is going to be probably the biggest chalk, in terms of the skill players.
Yeah, and I think that will be pretty chalky, but I don't know how many people are going to put the defense in the captain spot. A lot of people say they're going to do it, but when push comes to shove, it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So I think with that defense in the captain spot, I think that would be the type of build that would be unique enough.
All right, here's the winning lineup. This is the winning lineup. Thank you guys. Mark it down. We're all going to share the winnings. This is
Chop it with hundreds of our friends. Let's do it.
Right. So here we go. Jason Walter has kind of the Brown played 93% of the snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor Heineke is where we have the problems, but what about a guy like Terry McLaurin? Is this just not enough offense in this game and not enough quarterback play in this game to start a guy like Terry McLaurin? Is that now start? And obviously, fantasy, start him in your lineups because he's great as a fantasy player, and I think he's going to be fine. But in terms of this showdown, is it just too much for a game that we don't expect a lot of passing offense in?
Yeah, and I don't think Heineke can necessarily get it all the way out to where McLaurin makes his money. Also, so I'll have some of them because he can break out from anywhere, but I'm not going too crazy with Terry McLaurin today. I don't know. Hey, if he does, I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, at least this week. But I mean that it could happen. It could happen.
Right. Yeah. It's just you're gonna have to find different ways to do that. Like, let's just say I'm not taking Gibson out and trying to put McLaurin in. And I don't know what spots you would want to utilize or how you'd want to kind of fit those puzzle pieces in there to get Terry McLaurin. So maybe that's something you'll have to work out with. And if you are working through those lineups and you're trying to revolve one, with Terry McLaurin in there and you don't know if it works, why not head into the Discord chat, sign up windailysports.com, get a gold membership, put the lineup in our Discord chat, and all of our DFS experts are going to help you out with that. So be sure to subscribe, windailysports.com. Again, use the promo code NFL2021. You get $100 off a 6-month gold membership. And I certainly recommend that for the NFL season. And also, this is all sponsored by the Sharp app. Go to sharp.app to learn more. And also go to any of your app stores, whatever app store you use, and search up the Sharp app. My name is Jon Jansen. Follow me at JJansen34. Stoweby is joining me. We're going over tonight's slate. What would you say is the craziest play? Like, is there a really just wacky, wild play that you have here that you're looking at? I mean, De'Ami Brown was the one. Is that it? Well, like, this is a really tough one.
Right. He did play a lot of snaps, but he only caught one of his 4 targets. Right. So I mean, we'll see. He did play a lot of that game, but I still kind of think that the chemistry will end up being there and it might show itself tonight, but I don't think McKissic's going to get involved much unless it gets really out of control one direction and they completely abandon the running game. I just don't see that happening tonight.
I've been seeing a lot of, backup running backs, and Devontae Booker and McKissic, both of them, I've been hearing their name kind of thrown out in terms of playing for tonight's showdown. McKissic, because as Jason has pointed out here, gets more involved, 80 receptions last year. And Devontae Booker, we know that the workload for Saquon Barkley isn't going to be a lot. So Booker, I would imagine, going to get a lot of the short yardage carries. He's going to get a lot of the goal line carries, and probably he's going to steal not maybe some of the third down reps, but I do imagine he's going to steal some of those early down clear running situation carries from Saquon. Is Booker 2,800? Is there just not enough upside, or we're just chasing at least a touchdown with Devontae Booker and a 2,800? That's kind of all we need.
He's not worth much more. I mean, definitely don't put him in captain, but if you want to put him in a flex spot or two, if he can sneak his way into the end zone. And you asked me about crazy plays, and I was kind of thinking about it. Saquon in the captain spot, because nobody's going to do that today. if he ends up getting 10 touches and just has a couple of big runs and they set him down for the rest of the day, nobody else is going to do that.
No. I know him and probably Terry McLaurin, because we've been talking about that a lot. And look, McLaurin has done well against the Giants, so I wouldn't be too scared of Terry McLaurin, and especially with Taylor Heineke. It's just the way this game script is going to be. It's really taking a chance with not much opportunities I think he's going to get, because I don't think they're going to pass a lot. This is maybe going to be at most like a 20 attempt passing day for Taylor Heineke.
Yeah.
So
20,
it's going to
attempts.
Right. Like I see very little from Washington's passing offense, because I don't think Ron Rivera wants to put Heineke in that situation. I think they're going to try and run a lot. I think they're going to try and win this off of their defense, play the field position game. So it's going to be really interesting. So here's one. Washington in defense at the captain spot: Heineke, Jones, Brown, Gibson, and Saquads. Well done, Brian. Round of applause. Well done. So you know what? I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. You want to get a little bit of Saquon in there. I'm not going to go terribly crazy, but if we're talking 10 lineups, I'll have them in one or two. And I might actually, because I go ahead, I'm using the tickets that I have just stashed up. I might go ahead and throw my DK tickets in on like a Saquon captain lineup.
Saquad Barkley.
Saquad's Barkley captain lineup. Lock it in.
Sick. Yeah, lock that in. Any play here with the spread or betting on this game? You know, who would you be looking at the props market? I'll say this. So Giants are bad, and the offensive line is atrocious. This is going to be a game where both teams struggle to score 20. I'm taking the side that is getting the 3.5. 3.5 is a lot of points for a game when it's that low of a total. And Daniel Jones, you could throw at me all the primetime numbers. I'll throw at you his numbers against NFC East and particularly Washington. He's 4-0. Now, I think that this game is going to be decided. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. I think this game is going to be decided by a couple of points. I'm not only getting a 3, I'm getting the bleeping hook here in a game like this. I think the Giants are the play. If you don't want to bet on the Giants, do not bet on Washington, because I guarantee you that hook's going to beat you. And if you do play Washington, buy the half a point, buy the hook, because I can almost guarantee you that hook is going to butt you in the ass. I guarantee.
Oh
you.
Yeah. Antonio Gibson over 18.5 receiving yards seems pretty fair with Heineke on the field.
Wow, 18.5 receiving yards. I actually like that a lot. Actually. I like that one. I like Heineke's rushing yards prop. I think that's going to be the game plan. It's going to be a lot of that. Maybe dump offs to Antonio Gibson, screen passes, but also getting him out of the pocket and having him run. That's how they're going to.
He's going to run a lot of bootlegs. Yeah, right, yeah. And that 20.5 doesn't seem that seems way too low.
Yeah, I think 30-40 easily for Heineke, because his game is going to be, he's looking downfield, a prolific passer. It's going to be short yards, moving the chains by running the ball, using his legs. So I think that's going to be part of his repertoire for tonight. And I think it actually works out that Heineke is going to move the ball. But yeah, I can't play that game knowing that there's a hook. I can't take Washington laying the points with that hook. And because the easy thing is to just be like, Washington's better and the Giants stink. Yeah, I know that. But Washington isn't good enough to, I think, be laying 3.5 with them. So I'm taking the Giants. You leaning anyway here?
Not really. Not in this one. I would have been on the Washington side of it all day, but things change. That was with old Fitzmagic before his
old Fitzmagic.
Oh man,
old Fitzmagic had a farm.
Well, I mean, low bone density is kind of an issue when you get up in age like that. So
you think so?
Those things. No, I'm just being a smart ass. I know he's old. He's old for football. He's not old for real life.
You're being a smart ass. I'm seeing Old McDonald. I think it's time we get off here. Again, this is all sponsored by the Sharp app, sharp.app. You can check out the app.
We made it 25 minutes.
We did make it. I don't know how we did that. I thought this was all right, this is going to be 10 minutes, and then the other 10 minutes of this is going to be brutal. But no, we did great. Sharp.app. Go to the App Store. You can find it. Also, sign up with dailyssports.com for a gold membership. And you can use the promo code NFL2021. Gets you $100 off a 6-month membership. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Win Daily Sports. And you can see my ugly mug all over there. And you can comment on just how terrible the videos are. But they're great. So thank you. That is it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. Position by position preview with Jason Mizrahi. A big 30-minute video live stream that goes in the afternoon every single Friday, and we'll be breaking down every single position for week 2. It's one of the best shows we have leading up to the Sunday slate until the actual Sunday preview with Sticks and Ghost at 11 a.m. on Sundays. But that is going to be tomorrow right here at WinDailySports.com. Thank you to Stoweby. You can follow me at STOWEBY. Follow me at JJansen34. We're out. WinDailySports.com. If it ever goes out.